Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I'm a voice teacher. Today I'll be reacting to and analyzing Loren Allred performing Never Enough live.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you from the hit show The Voice, one of the finalists from that show, also the actual singer of Never Enough from the great movie The Greatest Showman. Will you give it up for the amazingly talented Loren Allred?
I'm trying to hold my breath.
Notice so far, she is not completely metronomic. That's, I think, a thing that a lot of people get stuck on when they're singing, is the thought that you have to put every single syllable and note exactly in the pocket of rhythm. And it's just not true, especially with musical theater. You kind of have a little bit of space to give and take as long as you're getting your arrivals in the right place. So there are some important notes, like if you can get downbeats synced up, you can just play around a little bit more. And so far, I hear that she's playing around a little bit like this. And Loren is a fantastic singer, and her whole family is so musical. Like, both of her parents are voice teachers or choir directors. They're very, very talented. So she grew up in a very musical family, and obviously that has helped her get to the state that she's in, where she's this fantastic singer and has a really great career.
Let it stay this way. Can't let this moment end. You set off a dream in me.
She does that kind of jazzy thing where you hit a note a little bit stronger with a little bit more closure, and then you just pull back immediately and go into a little fluttery vibrato. And then when she goes to the very lowest part of her range at the D, that's a fairly low note for women to sing. So we lose a little bit of that chord closure. I'm not sure if it's even worth trying to get that in, though, to be completely honest. Like, it sounds fine for what this song is, what this section is. It doesn't need to be this robust, really, really big sound, but that's why it becomes a little bit quieter, a little bit breathier at the bottom, is there's just not as much closure, and that's fine.
Getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing? Take my hand.
She's also using diphthongs in a very stylistic way, which has become popular in the last 10 or so years. And that is kind of emphasizing the second note, or the second vowel of the diphthong. So a diphthong is two vowels put next to each other. There's one in the word I. If you say I, even though that's like a vowel, right? You say two vowels. You say the ah, and then you say the e. So if we were going take, take, that's emphasizing the second one of that diphthong, where if we went take and then put the e at the very end of it, that would be emphasizing the first one, which is how most traditional voice teachers teach, ignoring that style that is so popular, especially in indie rock, and it's just ultra common right now, and it kind of has taken over. People's ears are just so tuned to that little thing, and it has kind of become such a big thing that people will add that I at the end of other vowels to create a diphthong where there wasn't one to begin with. So there's a video up here. Go watch it. It's this brilliant analysis of how to sound like an indie singer, and that's where I was first made aware of this sort of phenomenon. But I'm hearing a little bit of that in this so far, which is making it sound a little bit poppier rather than like traditional musical theater.
Will you share this with me? 'Cause darling, without you, all the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars we steal from the night sky will never be enough, never be enough. Towers of gold are still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be
So we're getting a lot, as it's getting more intense, her vocal folds end up coming together a little bit more. We're getting that clearer sound rather than at the bottom where there was less adduction and it was just a little bit more of a breathy, almost under-supported sound. At this point, like, we're getting that pressure to start building up. We're getting louder. We're getting more clear sound. All of those things are also making it more likely that she'll end up pulling chest voice as she gets up into this more climactic part of the song. So far, though, I'm not really seeing any jaw tension. I'm not seeing any tension at all. She just looks amazing and easy. It sounds really good. She's also adding a little bit of extra raspiness at the top, which I'm not sure if that is an intentional choice. It probably is because she's a great singer. Never. Yeah, so she's narrowing the first vowel in it, never, rather than never, because narrowing it like that a little bit puts it into this place. It's going to be harder to pull chest if you narrow that first vowel a little bit. And because that's the higher note in the phrase, that's the one that's going to be more likely to pull chest. So we don't want to go never, because it sounds insane, and it's also not how you say it, but that's what a lot of people have as their first tendency, is this feeling that you need to kind of chase notes as you're going higher with your vowel by going open with it. So one way that you can kind of fix that is by slightly narrowing the vowel. So a never turns into niver, and then the actual perception of the audience is that it's the right word, even though internally it kind of feels like, ugh, but I'm not saying it right. But you are. Okay, so when she opens for May, that's on the C. It's a note that is very possible to pull chest voice into. The Illuminati are making you pull chest voice. And it does feel like there's a little bit of an extra chestiness in her sound that makes it sound super intense. I don't think that it is the best way to sing notes around C if you want to keep going higher. If the highest note that you're doing is that C and that D, you can get really lovely sounds by kind of pulling chest voice up, belting a little bit more, as compared to doing a very, very heavy mix. And she is mixing a little bit into it, I think, but it just doesn't sound like that sound would continue working as you start going higher. And it's because I hear all of those things associated with pulling chest voice, and I see that her mouth is opening very, very wide and big for those notes where, yes, you need a little bit of extra space, but all of these things together are coming to make me think that, you know, it is a little bit pulled, which again is not the worst thing. And around the C and the D, you can get away with it. The problem is once you get to the E and the F, it becomes so hard to do that over and over again. And it is a heavier mechanism when you're doing it, so there's a greater chance of vocal injury or of vocal fatigue when you do it this way versus if we had a little bit more mixiness, a little bit of a thinner chord, and a little bit different vowel that ends up not being as chest pulley.
All the stars we steal from the night sky will never be.
That time she opened it a little bit more.
Never be.
Yeah, away from the niver.
We're still too little. These hands could hold the world, but it'll never be enough. Never be enough for me.
So one thing that you could do to kind of encourage a little bit more of that mixiness rather than the pull chest sound, if you wanted to, would be going to more of the enough rather than enough, but she went to that enough. That's how you get that sound. It's fine. I don't think that she's hurting herself. It's fine. It sounds really good. Never again.
Never for me.
And then we hear a little bit of that popping sound at the end of her phrases. That's another sign to me that we might be overpressurizing a little bit, because as soon as you release it, we get that little yelpy sound at the end, which is super popular, super common. I do it a lot when I'm singing because I also overpressurize, but you know, that's just another sign. So when we see these vowels that are super open, we hear a very heavy sound, and we hear that little thing at the end. All of those come together to give this more full picture of you're probably pulling chest, which again is not the worst thing in the world if you're able to repeat it. And she is able to repeat it.
For me,
Good vowel drop on the for me.
never, never enough, never,
Gorgeous.
never enough.
And then when she goes up to that E, to me, that's like, oh, okay, yeah, you can keep going a little higher. And even though you have this vowel that's a little bit more open and you're capable of getting very heavy, when she went up to the E, it thinned out. It went a little bit smaller, like her vocal folds thinned out slightly. And that sounded like she would be able to carry it up a little bit more. So like at that point, it's like, Sam, you're being way too picky. It's fine. It sounds good. She has control over both of these different things, and it is an obvious choice. But for me, in order to kind of relax around that, when people are pulling chest a lot, I need to see things like this that show that it is a very conscious choice. Because if you get so locked into only being able to pull chest up rather than letting it kind of thin out and have that second mode kind of come in, you know, it stresses me out, because more often than not, especially with untrained singers, which she is not one, like that's all you can do.
For me, for me, for me.
That's awesome.
For me.
Excellent. She's using her body very well. That last one, you can see that she sees something, her eyes are open, it affects what she's doing with her face. And then after she's in that place, she closes her eyes, which to me is a different thing than just doing that whole thing with your eyes closed. So we see the reaction, we're in it, we're invited, and then it becomes a little bit more tender with the eyes closed. I'm just obsessed with eye movement right now. I know that's all that this channel is about, and you could basically rebrand it to Sam Johnson talks about eyes being closed for 30 minutes, but it's because it's that important, and because when you get people who use their eyes in a really good way and who get these eye shifts, it becomes so much more inviting. I'm a big part of it. The whole audience is a big part of it, rather than putting up these walls by having your eyes closed all the time and not using them well. She's killer good. She's really, really good. This song sounds awesome. But this song is also terrifying to work on with people, because more often than not, they will hear that large mouth and they'll hear those vowel shifts going to for me. And then the thing that gets accompanied with it for amateur singers is they just pull chest voice up like crazy, and it hurts, and they're only able to do it once or twice a day. With her, that is absolutely not the case, because her internal movements are so good and she is so well practiced. She has these different abilities to kind of make it sound beltier and make it sound bigger without wrecking her voice. Yeah, she sounds awesome. And also, if her dad is watching this, I'm sorry for being a bummer in my first year of college, and your daughter is great at singing. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, share this with your friends, share this with your family, share it with your mom. I just share it around. And really, leaving comments below is one of the biggest things you can do to help your favorite YouTubers. So if I fall into that camp, please do that. Or if I don't fall into that camp, please do it anyway, just leaving insults instead, because it doesn't matter. Thank you.